that 65 billion of tariffs that we have on the table.
Why he look
that
like
we
a
launch
wrestler?
towards the U.S.
He for sure look like a wrestler.
We have to run through every tariff and minimize the pain for Canadians, maximize the pain for Americans. And I feel terrible for the Americans, but it's one person, it's President Trump, that's creating this chaos.
Canada don't want that smoke. So on any level. So,
But Canada's not the only one.
look,
If their intention, you just heard it from him, and I don't know exactly who this guy is. You know who this guy is?
I don't know who that guy is.
If their intention is to maximize pain, and it's starting with tariffs, where's the line drawn? What's up, fam? It's your boy Matty Swank, and we got the one and only Love, aka Brother Love.
What's poppin'? I thought you just bleep out my name later.
Okay.
What's poppin'?
Yeah. I'll do that post. We got Brother Love with us today, and these levels are kind of high. I'm gonna turn these down a little bit. And we've been wanting to go over some tariff stuff. You know, I do everything real estate, which tariffs are heavily related. I'll let him tell you what he does, but definitely in the world that revolves around tariffs and things like that. So you wanna give it up?
Yeah. Little background. I won't give too much, but I'm a venture capital investor, so I focus on studying the markets, and macroeconomy is something I look at quite heavily. And so the tariffs, we were arguing about this at work last week, so I figured I'd hop on here and we can argue about it on here.
Let's go. We're going to get right into it. And just make sure you speak directly into that.
Okay.
Because it gets weird when you don't. So we're going to do some research. We're going to do it live. And if you have any thoughts or feelings, you agree, disagree, you want to curse somebody out, with love, do it in the comments.
Yeah, so I told you this earlier, but I think what I want to do for this chat is go over the backstory of tariffs, because I think a lot of people are just knee-jerk reacting to what's going on. So I want to talk about the backstory, the impact to the American consumer, impact to American workers, the impact to the American economy, and the impact to other countries' economy. I know that was a mouthful, but I feel like that's the path we could go on.
Tight. Let's run it.
So first, I'm going to say some stats, and then maybe you can fact check me with ChatGPT.
Absolutely.
So I don't make anything up.
Absolutely.
But a lot of people are like tripping out by this tariff concept. And I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I will say tariffs are kind of what built this country to what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing my little research, which we'll double check, from the founding of this country since like 1790 to I think like 1920, there was no taxes. There was no taxes. So the federal government was not funded by taxes. It was funded by tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
Over that time, we came from like not even a country to the number one economy in the world. So this notion that like tariffs are so horrible, but this is the path we took to become the number one country in the world, that's like, that's interesting to talk about.
That is.
And I'm not a fan of the current administration, but I just like to be objective about everything.
100%. All right, and we're back. That is 100. This channel is 100% built on objectivity. You know what I mean? Like some things are subjective. A lot of things in life are subjective, but remaining objective. So yeah, 100%.
So let's maybe we just go to ChatGPT and see if I'm lying. Let's ask it like, what are the history of tariffs in the U.S.? And so what I think we'll see is what I just said. The federal government was totally funded by tariffs from 1790 to like 1913, 1920, something like that.
All right.
Oh, they got episodes. That's this. I like it. This is new. I never seen you say it like that.
Yeah, let's go. Tariffs in the U.S. A story of drama, politics. It knows me.
Mine's trained for you. Mine ain't trained like this. I'm trained mine like this.
Yeah, mine has learned me. I do a lot of production, video, content stuff. So it's kind of figured it out. Episode 1: Founding Fathers and First Duties. The Tariff Act of 1789 was America's first major source of revenue. Back then, we didn't have an income tax, so tariffs on imports were how the government paid its bills. Alexander Hamilton, yeah, that Hamilton, was a big fan. He wanted to protect U.S. manufacturing from foreign, mainly British competition.
So let's pause here. One, I was off by 1 year, but I was pretty much right.
Okay.
Two, protect U.S. manufacturing from foreign competition.
Uh-huh.
That's exactly what's happening right now.
Uh-huh.
So it's not the British, but it's China, it's Mexico, it's all these low-cost
BRICS.
producers. So this concept, I think a lot of people are acting like it's brand new.
It's not brand new.
But, I mean, according to ChatGPT right here, this is not a new concept, and essentially is a concept that essentially built our economy.
Yep.
Well, let me say not the only thing that built, because at this time there was also another thing going on.
Wait, do you want to talk about that?
Where there was a,
do you want to talk about that at all?
A lot of very, 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 very low cost labor.
No cost labor? Is that what you mean?
No cost labor building the economy. But that's a story for a different day,
That's
but not to
definitely
be
another
ignored.
story for another day. Yeah. So there's a lot. I mean, when you don't have to pay for labor.
Yeah. Yeah.
When your labor is property.
So let me say this is not what built our economy, but let me say this was a component of how we funded our federal
It's
government.
a very important puzzle piece for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so episode number 2, Civil War of Trade, 1820s to 1860s. Tariffs became a North versus South issue. Oh, they might get into it. The North loved them because they protected factories. The South hated them because they relied on exporting cotton and importing goods. The Tariff of Abominations, 1828, sparked major outrage in the South and even led South Carolina threatening secession during the nullification crisis.
Okay, I didn't know this part, but I will say a lot of us might want to be on the side of the North, potentially.
I mean,
depending on who the audience is.
Yeah,
but,
depending on who you are.
Back then,
If you're watching Two Brothers,
yeah. Maybe not. I don't know. There could be people arguing this, but back then, same thing with the one before, protecting U.S. manufacturing.
President Andrew Jackson, he's on one of our bills. What is it, the 50, 20?
I don't know no history like that. I'd be looking
Andrew
it up
Jackson,
on the fly.
the greenbacks? I think he's on the Andrew Jackson.
Probably the 50.
I think he's on the 50.
Maybe the.
Oh my goodness.
Who won the 20? It was supposed to be Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, it's not. Oh, here, hold on. Side quest. Who's on the $50 bill? This is crazy. I don't get a lot of 50s.
Them 50s is clean though. Them pink 50s.
What is happening?
Ulysses.
Grant's on the 50.
Right,
Jackson's on the 20. I'm tripping.
Oh, the dub. I told you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm tripping. I'm
Okay.
tripping. I might have to edit that out because that looks crazy.
I told you I didn't know.
Yeah, Andrew Jackson. Yeah, told him to knock it off or he'd bring the army. Episode 3, Industrial Rise and High Tariff Era. 1865, very special year for a few reasons. And 1913, post-Civil War America equals heavy industrialization and protectionism. Tariffs stayed high to protect U.S. steel, coal, textiles, you name it. You name it. It was the golden age of robber barons, railroads, and tariff debates in Congress. The main theme of this is America grows rich and industrial behind a tariff wall.
So I believe this is the period where we grew into the number one economy in the world.
Industrialization.
So, but you'll see from the beginning to now, from nothing to number one economy in the world, tariffs were a huge part of how we interacted in the global economy and funded our federal government.
Oh, interesting. Episode 4, Income Tax Changes Everything, 1913. The 16th Amendment gave us the federal income tax, reducing our reliance on tariffs, which we'll talk about that because that's exactly what the current administration is talking about doing away with, which I'm extremely hopeful. I would love it. I have no allegiance to either party.
Yeah.
I think both are two wings of the same bird.
Yeah.
I think both administrations lie and they are all self-serving.
I'll say I'm different. I'm anti-MAGA.
Okay.
But objective.
Okay.
When the policy comes out, I'm gonna analyze it from first principles objectively.
I'm with that 100%. So yeah, if they do away with this income tax, we'll see what happens. But okay. So the 16th Amendment gives us federal income tax, reducing our reliance on tariffs. The Underwood Tariff Act of 1913 slashed duties dramatically and started taxing incomes. The main theme of this is new revenue stream means tariffs start to chill out. Why are you talking to me like that? Oh, because that's how I talk.
So now the burden of the federal government shifts from tariffs and other economies to the U.S. citizens.
All right. Episode 5. Oh, no, we're already off to a not great start. Episode 5, the Great Depression and trade chaos. Enter the Smoot-Hawley Tariff, 1930, raised tariffs sky high to protect U.S. jobs during the Great Depression, but it backfired badly. Other countries retaliated, world trade collapsed, and things got even worse.
Okay, this is good. This paints a different picture. So I feel like up to this point, we've seen one picture of tariffs
yep.
good. Now we're seeing a picture of retaliation and tariffs bad. I don't know where we go with that, but let's go next.
Yeah, let's find out. Okay, episode 6, post-World War II and free trade era. After World War II, the U.S. helped create a new global trade order. GATT, 1947, eventually becomes WTO 1995. Focus shifted to lowering tariffs, promoting trade, and building alliances. Deals like NAFTA, 1994, and joining the WTO marked the U.S. embracing globalization. So free trade becomes the cool kid in the town.
Yes, this cool kid notion, I really like that they said it like that. But I would say if you talk to anybody who has like a advanced economics degree or from these fancy colleges, they're going to be all about free trade. And if you say anything other than free trade, they're going to look at you like you're really dumb. And so I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I'm saying...
Did you go to a fancy college?
I did. I did. I studied economics into an MBA at Yale. And
so you've got firsthand experience with these.
Yeah, I know these folks. I work with these folks. But across all of them, it's free trade, free trade, free trade. Like if you're talking any other language or any other ideas and concepts, you're kind of cast to the side.
You're a black sheep.
Basically. Let's keep going.
Okay, so this is the end of this right here. Big picture. So tariffs started as our main income source, evolved into a political weapon, a protector of industries, a divider of regions, a scapegoat in recessions, and now a strategic tool in global power plays, which I think that's what's happening. It's at the very least right now being used as a bargaining chip, which, a businessman goes hard on negotiation. Trump wrote, The Art of the Deal, right? So I think that he knows a thing or two about negotiating, and we'll see how this all plays out.
Right. But then the question is, what does he ultimately want from the negotiations?
Right.
Is it to protect U.S. manufacturing and jobs? Is it to lower our taxes for all of us and just allow other countries to pay for that? But I think now going through that, we probably all have a more balanced understanding of the history of tariffs in this country as it relates to the global economy. So now maybe we just go back and forth real quick and talk about what we think the impact will be. Maybe we start with the American consumer, the everyday person.
Okay. Yeah, I don't just off top, and I've got very little knowledge on this. I know that this is going to affect the industries that I'm invested in, right? Real estate, building costs, steel, whatever. But if they do, so number one, he's got some plans on making homes more affordable, which there are unnecessary restrictions and costs. Ask me how I know. On building, especially when you involve bureaucracies. We've seen what he said about what happened with the LA fires. As it stands, I don't know the exact time frame, but it would take, a while to get things permitted, a while to get, plans approved and, to rebuild somebody's home. So I watched, a debate that he had, not a debate, but I watched an interaction that he had with the mayor of LA, and that's gonna take too long. When can these people start building? When can they start cleaning up? Because for all these things, you have to get permits. You want to cut down a tree, you have to get a permit. You want to demolition some things, you have to get a permit. To foundation, plumbing, electrical, you have to get permits for all these things, and these cost money. They cost time. So these are very resource intensive things. So we'll see. But he's talking about cutting costs with regulation. And then, we bring in tariffs, which if they're not made here in the US, if they're not produced here in the US, it's going to cost us money. And it's going to go both ways, right? There's no way that Mexico or Canada is going to be cool with, us charging them money and it not get passed on to us.
Yep.
It's going to go both ways. We put tariffs on them, they're going to put tariffs on us.
Yep. I think you brought up a good point, because this is going to affect, like, he has the one executive order, which is 25% tariffs on imported cars, but there's going to be more, and there's more that he's been talking about. I think in just talking about the cars ones, I think the everyday consumer is going to have to pay more for a car.
Absolutely.
So I think the most of us are probably going to be hurt by that, to pay a little bit
if
more.
You're getting them from the dealership.
Right.
If you're getting them brand new from the dealership.
It may filter into the used car market over time.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I think on balance, the everyday American consumer probably pay a little more for a car. Okay, but what about now the manufacturing workers? Those folks in Detroit, those folks in these manufacturing hubs around the world.
Who is that? Is it me? This is one of my devices. So I think that this one's going to be extremely interesting, because if things are made here in America, this could bring back jobs. Right. This could bring back industry. And one of the last episodes that I did, I had said that Oakland, I don't know if you know this, but Oakland is the Detroit of the West.
Big facts.
They used to call Oakland the Detroit of the West because of the industry that we had
Oakland
here.
and Compton, right?
I don't know about Compton.
I think Compton was the same kind of thing.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
But yeah, but you're totally right.
So,
and a lot of those jobs were, working class folks, black folks.
So if we're able to bring jobs back, I don't know what the pay rate's going to look like. I don't know how all of that is going to look like. But if we're able to bring jobs back, that's a huge thing for our economy.
Yeah,
that's a huge thing for working class families and for the U.S., making us stronger. So just off top, I'm interested. I don't know. I don't know yet. I can't say that I'm excited, because I don't know what the cons are going to be about it. I can think right now about the pros, but I don't know what's going to happen behind the scenes.
Yeah, I would agree with everything you said. I think, but I would say on balance, probably positive for American workers.
Just off top, it sounds like it.
Off top, it feels like it's positive, especially if this happens in other industries. So automobiles is one, but like if this goes to other ones and we get all these manufacturing jobs back, it feels positive.
If we can bring, so just sticking with automotive right now, because that's my heart, one of them. If we can do these things, all the jobs are here. We're bringing jobs back from Mexico, from wherever else these our cars are produced. We're going to have to get everything in check, right? Just the cost of materials.
Right.
But all in all, it sounds like a net positive thing. If we can, I really would love to see Oakland take back off with manufacturing. I would love to see that.
And that's something I haven't even thought about, but
yeah. We have the facilities, we have the land, we have the infrastructure already.
And people need jobs.
We have Silicon Valley, so if we start like mass producing, like Tesla has here in the United States, I think that to Oakland, California, where else? Houston. I think that this could be a big help for us. I don't know what the cons are right now. Maybe other countries.
I don't think there's a con to workers or people who want employment. I think it's good here, but maybe bad for consumers.
Yeah.
So it's
maybe the prices go up.
Yeah, prices go up.
At what?
25%, maybe. I don't know.
Because we're not affected by the tariffs if we're building things here.
Right, but the reason we build them there is because it's cheaper.
Right.
But that's why Tesla's winning.
Right.
That's why if you look, Tesla's stock shot up because they already make all the cars here. everybody else's price is going to go up, they can keep the prices where they're at. So, I mean, this is another thing where,
Shipping.
Elon's probably sitting there with your boy like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Run that play.
Yeah. And he's all for the visas, so we'll see what happens.
But I think the ultimate is like, so if we say, okay, maybe bad for consumer pays more, good for American workers. The other big question is like, okay, for the overall economy, is this good or bad? Like, is this? And I think this is the question. If you're looking at it objectively, nobody really knows.
So we're doing all of this, right? Right now, we're shipping things out. Are other countries gonna still accept our cars, right? With these tariffs? Because so where we'll win with these tariffs is we'll win on shipping, right? Now these companies don't have to pay, we get them from Mexico or we get them from Canada or wherever else. We don't have to pay for shipping to get them back in or freight. So that'll be nice. We can do it throughout the US. But now we're exporting cars to a number of places. Are they still going to want our cars? Or, since there's a tariff, right? Like, what does that look like?
Are they going to put a tariff on us?
They already, 100%. I mean, I
so
can't
this
say
is
I
like,
can't say for sure.
Honestly, I'm gonna be real. I think this comes down to math. Like this comes down
what
to
do the numbers look like.
Let's get out a spreadsheet. Maybe one day we can do an update. Ask ChatGPT to do it. But like, what's the math of how many cars go out, how many come in, how much jobs and new income is gonna be created? Like, there's a bunch of different puts and takes. But I think that's the main thing about things like this. It's never as straightforward as the political polarized situation we're in right now makes it seem. People just want to jump on one side and just start screaming and yelling without fully understanding the puts and takes of everything.
Let's see. This is 9 minutes. Let's check this out real quick.
How about
and
this
see.
for a warning from one auto industry expert?
Here we go.
So this is CNN. It's going to be bad. It's going to be all bad.
I want to hear what they have to say.
All right,
I want to hear what they have to say. We can
but
skim
let's
through
just watch
bit.
a little bit, and then let's go to Fox, and they're going to say it's all good.
Yeah. And this is why I go so hard for objectivity,
Yeah.
and I want to hear it straight out the horse's mouth, right? What are you saying is going to happen? What is the other side is going to happen? Because it's
and then
more
it's
often
about
not a mix.
going to do your own research,
Right.
Like we did today,
Right.
like. Okay, because even out the horse's mouth, you'll never really know.
Right. You still have to do your own research.
Yeah.
Trust but verify.
Hello.
Rocket in coming weeks, and maybe even sooner than you think. After President Trump announced 25% tariffs are coming on all cars and car parts shipped to the U.S. Quote, there's probably not a vehicle on the market today that wouldn't be affected in some form or fashion by tariffs.
So that's parts
Leaders
too.
of some of America's biggest trading partners, also known as some of America's closest allies, are pushing back hard overnight about this. Try on another warning for size from the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford.
Good Lord.
Joining us right now is Mark Zandi, the chief
Hold on.
economist for Moody's Analytics. It's good to see you, Mark. Thank you for coming.
I'm going to pause this real quick. So I think that's going to be problematic, right?
But let me say this though. Of course, if you're from another country, you're gonna say that.
Yeah.
Like yes. This is policy that is good for U.S.
100%.
U.S. centric. Every other country is gonna be like, don't do that, and so it's not.
No, but the sentiment of maximizing pain, like where does that stop? Right? Like it's tariffs right now. We're making adversarial choices.
Let me say this. Canada don't want that smoke. So on any level. So
But Canada's not the only one.
look,
If their intention, you just heard it from him, and I don't know exactly who this guy is. You know who this guy is?
I don't know who that guy is.
If their intention is to maximize pain, and it's starting with tariffs, where's the line drawn?
The thing is, once again, I want to keep saying it. I'm not a proponent of this administration. But we're taking an approach where we draw the line.
Okay.
The line stops where we decide.
Okay. All right.
And
All right.
I don't know if that's the worst thing in the world.
What, for them
That
to try and bring the
man
pain?
does not decide where the line is.
Yeah.
He's gonna play whatever line we play.
All right. We'll see. Time will tell. But
Time
I just
will-
know
time
when
will tell.
I
Time
just
will
know
tell.
when you make ops we've seen it, you know, a lot. We hear about it a lot. And music, they're spinning the block, doing all types of stuff. You know, sleeping with a wife to do what, you know, we don't know where the line is drawn. And that's what I'm a little apprehensive about. I do think that this could be good. For the record, I do think that this could be good for the U.S. as a whole. But what are the cons?
Yeah, let's see what this dude say.
Yeah,
Because this dude is like more objective, I would assume.
Coming in, 25% tariffs coming for cars and basically all cars, since it also applies to car parts. What is this going to mean? What's your analysis on what people need to be preparing for?
Well, Kate, it means higher prices and it means fewer jobs. I mean, on the higher price side, you know, a lot of moving parts here, a lot of uncertainty. But I think if the tariffs are imposed as articulated and stay in place, by this time next year, the typical car price will be somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 more. So, you know, right now the average car price is $50K, so that means you're going to be paying $55K to $60K
on the list.
as a result of the tariffs. And then I do expect that it's going to cost jobs. You'll see retaliation. You just heard the Canadians talk about this. Other countries will respond, no doubt, and that means where U.S. manufacturers are going to have trouble selling what they produce to those countries, and it'll cost jobs. And you don't really need to go too far back to see this. If you go back,
all right, let's cut it. So I think I agree with this first point wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
I think it costing us jobs. I'm going to be very interested to see how that claim
costing us jobs.
He said we're going to have, like, I guess he's saying we're going to sell. To your point, we're going to sell less cars overseas. So I guess he's saying we're going to need to produce less cars, which will cost people jobs. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to watch that.
Because how many cars are we, like, how many domestic
and this is
cars,
what I'm saying, it's math. It's math.
How many domestic cars are we buying domestically?
Yeah, and how much is that number going to go up versus how many cars do we sell internationally, and how much is that number going to go down? So this is like a math problem that we should maybe come back with some numbers maybe in a week or so.
I should 100% know some numbers. I literally just brokered a deal. So 97% of my cars are German. Okay. They're all BMWs. Okay. I recently just got another Japanese car. And I just brokered a deal for a lovely young lady who wanted a newer 7 Series, a big boy. And she was very...
How much?
I think we were 55 after everything was said and done. Mind you, this car was like 110 brand new 2 years ago. So never buy a brand new car. I mean, unless you don't care.
You don't do no, like, Japanese cars? No. We need to talk because I need a new whip. I got to get rid of my whip.
I got you.
Let's look at Fox News. Let's see what Fox News say.
So she was very adamant on getting this car before the tariffs took place. I didn't see BMW on that list, which, you know, maybe that was maybe they left it out. But this
go to the restore U.S. manufacturing. There we go.
Right here.
Yeah, let's see what they say right here.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see how all this pans out.
So it's very big news that we teased yesterday on the show, and then at 4:00 we heard this announcement. President Trump saying that he is upholding his America First pledge with 25% tariffs on foreign-made cars and parts. He says the move could raise $1 trillion in revenue over the next 2 years. Here's some of that.
If you build your car in the United States, there is no tariff. And what that means is a lot of foreign car companies, a lot of companies are going to be in great shape because they've already built their plant. But their plants are underutilized, so they'll be able to expand them inexpensively and quickly.
Okay.
But others will come into our country and build, and they're already looking for sites.
So the United Auto Workers, which endorsed Vice President Harris last year, released this response.
Hold on real quick. I'm going to pause that. So if Mercedes, BMW, Honda, Toyota, Lexus, whatever, Toyota and Lexus is the same thing. If they're building their cars here, then they don't have to pay tariffs.
That's the idea. That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
And whether you're a U.S. company and you're bringing it back,
or
whether you're a foreign company and you're bringing it here,
okay.
That's why when dude says it's going to be less jobs, that doesn't really make sense to me.
Not with this being the intention.
Yes.
Because this should be, in theory, should be more jobs.
In theory. That's the whole reason for
Yeah,
it.
okay.
So what him saying that, we'll have to watch, but let's see what they say.
Okay.
We are ecstatic to see an administration finally address the unfair
Wearing all
trade
this
laws
red.
in this country.
Out here, blood.
These laws have destroyed the American working class. They've destroyed communities in this country.
Well, there you go. The European Commission calling the tariffs, quote, bad for businesses, worse for consumers in the U.S. and the European Union. Republican Senator from Ohio, Bernie Moreno, joins me now. Before the Senate, he owned car dealerships that spanned several states.
Okay.
Bought his first
This
one
man,
in
okay,
05
that's crazy.
in Ohio,
He's a good person to
which
talk
is
to
one
then.
of the top
Get your money,
states
brother.
for auto
Yep.
manufacturing in the country. About 84,000 auto workers in Ohio. Senator, good to have you with us today. What is your reaction to this 25% tariff, and how do you think it's actually going to play out?
Well, first of all, nobody should be surprised. President Trump campaigned on this promise to restore American automotive manufacturing here in America. And it's a very simple premise. If you sell your cars here, those cars should be made here. You know, it's interesting to see the reaction from the EU.
I'm not
They
mad at
don't
that.
let our cars even go there at all. So look, they wouldn't like it if all of a sudden the vast majority of the cars sold in their countries were imported from America. Our workers were destroyed through these terrible trade policies. We gutted out communities. We have to rebuild these communities. I applaud President Trump for finally taking decisive action that will restore the American manufacturing might in the auto industry here in America.
Let's take a look at some of the numbers that you just mentioned. U.S. automotive parts manufacturing over the past 24 years here in the United States down 34%. And let's hear from Sean Fain once again, talking about what you just mentioned in terms of the trade deal. This one, NAFTA.
24
Watch.
years.
Since NAFTA's inception and other horrible trade laws in the last 3 to 4 decades, we've seen 90,000 manufacturing facilities leave the United States. And they're doing it not because it's the right thing. They're doing it, they're destroying communities, all in the name of driving a race to the bottom and exploiting workers in other countries, you know, for poverty wages, poverty conditions.
So, Senator, I think one of the questions that comes up here, and I think President Trump just touched on it in those comments, is how quickly all of this can happen. And he suggested in that soundbite that there are facilities that are not at full capacity or that have been abandoned for overseas manufacturing. What can you tell us about that? How fast it can be?
He's absolutely right. We have a 6 million square foot manufacturing facility in Lordstown, Ohio,
All right,
that
let's
used
cut
to
it.
employ 10,000 UAW
So
workers. It's completely, for the most part, empty. That thing can be turned on in a matter of a few months. We have plants all over America that are underutilized, either operating on 1 or 2 shifts that can go to a 3-shift model pretty quickly. We have some car companies that are making cars that aren't very popular. Car companies can come in and buy that excess production, but it can't be a fight. This is America standing up for Americans. This is a president who's always said and always will have the back of the American worker, finally. And I think that's what makes President Trump such an incredible president.
Well,
he campaigned on it, Martha.
Senator,
All right, that's enough. That's enough of that.
But you see how we just saw 2 totally different stories, angles on the same
On the
story.
same thing. Yep.
I think let's
It's funny how that happens.
Let's wrap up because I'm trying to get some jerk chicken by the lake.
Oh
real quick.
yeah. Lovely. I'm hungry too.
But okay, all in all, do you want to say where do you stand on it? I'll say where I stand on it,
Okay.
and then people can argue in the comments.
all right, you want to rock paper
I
scissors
could-
who goes first?
I could go first. I could
okay,
go first.
okay.
I'll say it again. I'm not a proponent of the current administration,
Okay.
but
You know you're gonna get flamed in the comments, just so you know.
I don't care. But overall, I think the policy is good.
I think I share the same sentiments, especially hearing that these foreign companies aren't gonna get tariffed if they're building cars here, which I think if Mercedes, Toyota, Honda, whatever the most popular ones are, Japanese cars usually, are building their cars here, that opens up more opportunities for our citizens. I love that, actually. And I'm excited to see how many jobs that brings back here, how many more facilities,
Right.
how many more towns, how many more because I hate to use these words, but trickle down, right? If you bring in a facility, right? He just said 6 million square foot. I went to the was it the Ford Museum in Detroit? Okay. Huge plant, huge, very large. I don't remember how many millions of square feet that is. I want to say 6. Don't quote me on that. Maybe I'll look this up. But to have that thing full of people that are producing, how many cars are getting pushed out. So I'm interested to see the numbers of all of this, right? How many people are buying, how many more people are buying cars, American made.
We haven't analyzed all the numbers, so it's probably premature to take a stand. But
I'm going to say I'm hopeful.
Same.
If this goes to just what I can think of, if this goes to how I'm thinking of it, I'm hopeful.
Same.
So, I'll also say that I didn't vote for the current administration. I just think some of the rhetoric is a little misleading and whatever else. But if these policies can indeed help our brothers and sisters here as Americans, I'm for it. I don't want anybody to be, hurt or left behind. But we're talking about this is a game of chess. This is a game of risk, literally a game of risk. And me living here in America, we stand to benefit from America's goods. I would love to see the price of homes come down and be more affordable for our brothers and sisters that are looking to get into home ownership. I would love to see the price of all goods be more affordable for our brothers and sisters, and us being able to leverage one of the greatest countries. It's a great, terrible place, but one of the greatest countries and the greatest economies here. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful
too, brother. This was super fun. Let's do it again next week.
Yeah, we're going to run it back. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, feel free to leave them below. If you want to flame somebody, you think that we've got it completely wrong, leave it in the comment section. If you love this video, if you hate it, I want to hear from you. And if you have anything that you want us to talk about, this is the man. He knows all the money moves, everything VC, politics, economy, economics, all that. He's here. He's gonna be rocking with us for a minute. So, we're happy to be here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you have any questions, comments, likes or dislikes, please feel free to share them. All right. It's your boy, Matty Swank. We got Brother Love here with us, and we're signing out.
Peace and love.
Peace.